Hi, Donna. Welcome back. I am so excited to have you back and continue our chat on really manifesting jobs and all of this. But first of all, I want to make sure everybody knows you. So, welcome to Donna Nadeau, and she is a mindset coach and with results for life. Welcome, Donna.
Welcome, Lou. It's always a pleasure to be here with you and to talk about these many fascinating topics and have this conversation together. So, because we have some similarities in our background as far as the corporate world and things like that. So,
Yeah,
it's nice to continue our conversation from last week.
it is. I know. I was like, we just got started. So I know, Donna, you came from the IT world, right? So
Yes.
tell me, I want to hear, like, tell me more about you, like how you got your jobs, how you use mindset to get your jobs, some of the things where maybe you wish you had known earlier, and how working on yourself really helped you grow the way you want to grow. And some of the things that you felt were the most important and the most pivotal in you creating that success.
Yeah, well, there's some funny stories that go along with my career. And I didn't know about all this mindset work years ago, early on. I wish I had because they would have helped so much and I would have, grown and I believe went further in my career just if I had known this material and how to use your mindset to create what you want. Now, I was using it consciously and unconsciously, so I had good results and bad results. But starting out in my career, this is a funny story. I decided I had to make a decision, right? My family had moved. I had no money. They went way, in another state. They went to Florida. I was ready to start college. They lost their business. And so here I was. I had nothing. And I was just working different jobs, 3 jobs, 2 jobs, whatever I can do to get money. And then I decided at some point, like, I have to get a real job. Like, I have to go to school. I have to get a job. So I decided to be a computer programmer. That's what I wanted to do. So I wanted to go into the IT world and I wanted to be a developer. So I had a roommate at the time. I had taken a roommate to pay the rent, and he borrowed my car, which really was my sister's car. It wasn't even mine. When they moved to Florida, I got to borrow it for a while. Well, he took it out. Next thing I know, he's back in the parking lot, and the car's on fire. So I don't know what he did to it, but the whole car was on fire and was totaled. So I had no car. I was starting school, and it wasn't any place where there was a bus or I could walk to it. But I made a committed decision. I said, I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get to the school. And I already, took out the loans for it, whatever I had to do, the school loans and things. And I knew I needed this job. I mean, this career to, so I can get a good job so I can support myself. So I went out with my girlfriend, like she's like, let's just go out, go listen to a band, get your mind off of things. So we go out to this bar to listen to this band, and she runs into someone that she doesn't know very well. She knows through an acquaintance. And we're talking, and he's 10 years older than me at the time, right? So you wouldn't, you know, think she would even know him because he wasn't like our age group. So we're talking. He's asked me what I'm doing. I told him, what had happened, and I was all set to go to school to be a programmer. I really want to do it. So he said, I'm doing the same thing. He goes, what school? I said, so I gave him the name of the school. He goes, I'm going to the same school. I just signed up. I'm starting in September. I said, that's when I'm starting. And then I told him the story about the car and that I said, I don't think I'm going to go because I don't know how I'm going to get there. So it turned out he lived not very far from me at all, maybe 5 minutes away from me. He said, I will pick you up and bring you home every day. So,
That's awesome.
I mean, I could not have predicted that in the least. I mean, I was devastated when the car went on fire. One, I don't have money to buy another car. And then I can't go to school, like was in my mind. But I was determined. And this is how mindset, when you really decide you want something, the universe will just bring the people, the circumstances, the conditions, as long as you're taking the inspired action, which I did by, getting the loan with the school, investigating the school, signing up for it, even though I had no idea really how I was going to pay anything back. And I was on my own. And then I had the no car. But I mean, what was the chance of, meeting this person who's 10 years older than me that usually, like, I was in my 20s. So usually at that point, the person's in their career, like, right? Because he's
Yeah,
10
the
years
odds,
older.
you can have never planned this.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah,
Yes. And that's how the universe aligns. Exactly. When you make those committed decisions to towards a specific goal, right? And then you leave no doubt as to, like, you don't worry how it's going to happen, you just know it's going to happen, and you don't let the doubts, well, I don't know how, or this is in my way, like, you don't let any of that take you off track. I love it.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't have a penny to my name, honestly. I was rolling my coins, to go eat. So I had no money, no car. It was a miracle, like, in my mind. But now I know it's because of mindset. I was so determined, so focused. I knew I was going there somehow, some way, and I was going to get a good job, and I was going to support myself and get a car, which is what I did. I went to school, I was top in the class. I had a job before I even graduated. They do placement services. So I had a job as soon as I was done. I started working, and I mean, at the time, it seems like a low salary nowadays, but it was a great salary. And I was able, to live alone, to, buy myself a car. And, and then I stayed in that field because I truly loved it. I loved helping people. But then as the years went on, right, I started feeling a little unfulfilled. I wanted more. Like, there was just something inside of me that said, I don't want to do this for the whole rest of my life. Even though I loved my job and I loved IT, um, I just, there were things that, like, I didn't feel I wanted to have, like, to make my vacation schedule, right? I can only take vacation. Like, there are things like some of the red tape that goes with companies. You can only take certain days off, certain, you get certain holidays, things like that. But mostly there was just something I was feeling unfulfilled with. I wanted my own business. I knew I wanted my own business. But again, I didn't know the how,
Mm-hmm.
so it was this, pretty much like the same situation back years ago when I first started. You don't know the how, which is what is so great about this work. You just believe, you visualize what you want, you see how you want your life to be, and you go after it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what about you? You came from the corporate world too.
Yes, I mean, it was really, I wanted more, right? I loved what I was doing too, but I wanted more. And that's what led me to really transitioning into business, into coaching. Because there were certain values ultimately that were important to me around time with family, financial freedom, and things like this. And especially since one of my kids has special needs, I just wanted to never have to question, I need all this time off. Or even later on, my husband got sick with cancer, right? And I'll have to say, I mean, I found it to be a blessing that no, I didn't have a job because I didn't have to worry about saying, "Hey, I need time off, I need a leave," or and put that all on my teammates and all this. And that just for me
Mm.
felt, freeing because yes, it just feels I'm the kind of person that's very responsible, loyal, and never want to put stuff on other people. That's the kind of person I am. And so yeah, I wanted to have those things. But I want to get back to your personal stories around how you use mindset, consciously or unconsciously, to get the jobs that you wanted.
Well, I'm going to step back 1 second because my husband also had was diagnosed with cancer, needed a lot of treatment, but we weren't married at the time, so I could not take any family leave or anything, right? So I actually had to resign from my job because he couldn't drive for several months because he needed surgery and whatnot. So, these are some of the restrictions I also found, like working in the corporate world, that the time and money freedom is like a big thing for me as well. But now going back to manifesting jobs, when I was out of work, like even in this particular instance, when everything kind of went back to normal, I wanted a job, but I was in that needy energy of wanting a job. Like, I have to get a job, I need to make money. And when you're in that needy energy, people feel it and it actually repels. Or
Mhm.
you're in, the interviewer, and they can sense it. And my interviews never went well. Like, I never got the job. And I sent out like probably hundreds of resumes over the years, just one after another. And I just kept saying, oh, why is no one hiring me? Why can't I get an interview? And it's all the whys. And this isn't going to work for me. I don't understand it. And the more you do that, right, the more the universe is going to give you no
Evidence.
job, no interviews, no job. So I decided I started learning about this material and how to use your mindset. So I said, you know what? I actually listened to Abraham Hicks on this, and she always said all it takes was 68 seconds. Now it's 17 seconds to manifest what you want and get the energy flowing and the universe working on what you want. So I said, you know what? Starting today, every day, I'm going to pretend, um, you know, that I have this job interview. So I found the company that I really wanted. I found out as much as I could about them. I found out who the HR director was that would be interviewing me first, who I would send my resume to. I drove to the company. I wanted to see what it looked like, the parking lot, the building. So I did as much investigating as I could so I could have a visual on this
Mhm.
job. So I can focus, have a visual, which is going to help in my manifestation of the job. So then every day for 10 minutes, I timed myself. I would have a conversation with the HR manager. Like, first, I would get myself that I filled out my resume and I had it all in front of me with her name on it and everything. So, I would visualize myself like mailing the resume in, she received it, and then I got the phone call back. So I would actually pretend like the phone rang. Thank God no one was watching me, but I pretended like the phone rang and I actually like held the phone up and had a conversation with her. I played like both parts. Like, she was saying, I received your resume, Donna. I really loved it. You're just what we're looking for. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, and then I would say something about myself, and I just kept this going for 10 minutes. And then I would pretend like we hung up, and then she called me back saying, you know what, I interviewed. I'm done with my interviewing. You're the candidate we want. We want you to start right away. You know, do we have an agreement? And I would get the job, and I just did that every day for a couple of months, and and exactly what I said happened. I mean, I sent my resume there, which I've done in the past, like, I'll probably say year and a half before. They had a few openings during that time, and I would send my resume there because it was a software company and I really wanted to work for a software company. And I never got called for an interview from that company. I really wanted it. I was in that needy energy that, I need a job and I want it there. But I didn't feel confident because I wasn't getting the call backs from other companies as well. But I did this. I did it as a test, really. I wasn't sure if I believed it or not, but as the couple months went by, I did believe it, and they did call me, and I did get the job, and I did work there. So
That is awesome. I love this because that's really, I mean, that's really what it's about.
yeah, visualizing, using your mindset, believing, no matter what the outside looks like. Like, there was nothing to tell me I'm getting this job at all,
Yeah.
right? It
It was
was,
really that repetition, right? That daily discipline repetition of seeing yourself getting the job and having that job and really going with that assumption that you have it, even though the outside is not showing you anything yet. But understanding, and it's something I was getting into as well on my end, right? Where basically our subconscious mind has the power to make anything happen and has all the answers, but we are feeding it the wrong thing most of the time. And so you were constantly feeding it this new belief that this job is yours and you're going to get the job, right? And ultimately it accepted it, and the universe realigned to really, I mean, show evidence, right, of it.
yes, it did. And I would drive up to the company and park in the parking lot as if,
You were an employee, right?
yes,
I love it, Donna, because you did every little piece of it. So you were practicing every day,
yes,
the role playing. You were
yes,
driving over there to work as if you had the job. I have
yes.
a question for you. Would you pretend working all throughout the day as if you were working there too?
No, I didn't do that
Okay, just
actually. The,
okay.
the,
I wanted to
the,
know what anything else that you did. So because I think some people can really benefit from this.
yeah, I mean, I just had it in my mind. All it takes is 68 seconds to send that energy out to the universe and to get the universe to conspire on your behalf. And that's all I just truly believed. Like it takes 68 seconds. I'm going to do it for 10 minutes just to make sure. So so I did keep it going a little bit longer, but honestly, 10 minutes goes by so fast. It didn't
Especially
feel
if
like
you're
10
having a role
minutes.
play conversation.
But I was having my role play conversation. And some days, it might have been a little different in the beginning where she was saying, well, we want you to come in for the interview. And we talk, the conversation might have been a little differently that day because you usually have more than one call.
Mhm.
You have the call and then you actually go in person, so I did role playing that way, but there was no question I was going to get that job. And I did. And it's just because I've applied to that company a few times and never got called.
Before, yeah.
Yeah.
And did you visualize as well? Was there anything else that you did?
Well, I did visualize in the sense, I would think about myself like pulling up there. I would do that in the morning. I always did it in the morning because in the morning, your subconscious mind is more open because you didn't have the distractions of the day, the interruptions, whatever problems you might be having at work with your boss. So in the morning, and I wasn't working, so the house was empty. So, if you do your gratitude, like you're in a good kind of spirit and you're in a higher vibration in the morning, and your subconscious mind is going to accept this information more easily than if you try and do it in the middle of the day and your mind's all over the place by that time.
Oh,
So it was
quiet.
quiet, it was first thing in the morning. Um, and it worked. It worked. So I did that another time, same thing. I wanted my old job back that I resigned from when my husband,
God.
was it, had to have treatment.
Yeah.
And I manifested that too. Because
Did
I
you
did this,
process?
I used the same process of my old manager, my old director, of her calling me and saying that, there's an opening, we want you back. So I actually left this job to go back there because it did happen. And it happened a year after. I was
Wow.
doing the same process, but it happened, oh, not quite a year, probably 8 months after that.
Okay.
Someone went on maternity leave and wasn't, going to come back. And I took that spot and then kind of worked my way back around. And then I was there for several years until I started doing this. I left the company to do this, to become a coach.
I love it, Donna. Those are such great stories and really evidence of one is the power of the mind. It can help you get any job you want. However, it takes that awareness of realizing what energy are you in, right? What stories are you telling yourself of it's hard to get a job or why don't they call me back, right? Because if that's what you're literally saying this every day, that is what you're asking the universe to deliver to you. And so this is why I love what you shared, Donna, because you took the belief that okay, all I need to do is to do this for whatever it is, 67 seconds, whatever the magic number, 10 minutes, right? Whatever the magic number is. um but you decided, okay, I'm gonna run with this because I got nothing to lose. And and because otherwise the other way is not working. And you were able to realize, you know what, I'm going to shift away from that needy energy to I already have the job energy. And then really getting into the role play. And I love the going to work part because I think it's both the mind work where you really like, role play and see yourself there, but you took action demonstrating that you truly believed it. Because a lot of the time where we fail into manifesting something is yes, we do this, but we don't take any action that backs it up. And so by you driving there, you were telling the universe literally, yeah, no, this is mine.
Yeah, this job is mine. I'm here. I'm going to work. I'm an employee. But
I love
actually,
it.
yeah, you just reminded me because I should have probably mentioned this first, but the reason even like listened to Abraham Hicks and got into this is because the job before that I was trying to get, I did get on a few interviews, and I had the headhunter, like they said, you have the job, you have the job, you have the job, don't worry about it. I went out, I bought old clothes, shoes, because I believed I had the job. But then I wasn't getting the exact, contract that I had to sign. And I kept calling her and saying, why, how come you didn't send me the contract to sign? She goes, oh, well, they're just having a little transition over there in the IT, and they're moving things around, and, not going into any specifics with me, of course. But she said, don't worry, you have the job. But the longer that went on, the more I doubted. So I started doubting, and I'm saying something's going on. I'm not going to get the job. They're transitioning. I think something to do with the new director coming in. I said she's going to change things up. I know it. And sure enough, I didn't get the job last minute. I mean, and couldn't understand until she told me, she actually said to me, "Did you ever hear of the law of attraction?" And I said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And she told me that I was the reason that I didn't get the job. And she explained a little about law of attraction, how you, by using your mind, and what you're thinking and what you're believing, that's what you're attracting into your life, and getting emotionally involved with it, which I was. I was so upset. I'm like, oh my God, I just bought all these clothes and shoes, and, I'm all ready to go to work on Monday. Like, and
Mhm.
I ended up losing that job. And then that's what started me into, law of attraction, into mindset work, and understanding the universal laws. And, your mind is, and your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, how they work together to
Yeah,
give you the results that you get in your life. So
yeah,
that's how it all started. And, I've also been laid off for companies too, because my mindset was not in the right place. I was worried I would lose my job. A new company's taking over. They're not, they're going to have to let some people go. And sure
sure
enough,
enough.
I would be the one that would get let go.
You called it. It came.
It really works. Let me tell you.
It works every time, right? Good or bad, it always works.
Yes, definitely. It works. Believe it. It works.
So it's so important. I think, the biggest message we can leave our listeners with is be aware of what you're telling yourself, right? Are you telling yourself, well, there's so many more people, I'm not going to get the job, or it's hard to get a job? Or are you telling yourself, this is mine and I'm grateful, right? So thank you, Donna. How can people reach out to you and connect with you and maybe even get some of your coaching?
Well, they can, either reach out by my cell phone, 201-913-1963. Also, I'm on Facebook, and it's Donna.Nadeau 11. And then my Gmail is the same, Donna.Nadeau 11 at gmail.com. And it's Nadeau.
Thank
But
you so much, Donna. It
it
was a
was fun.
pleasure again having you. I love our conversations, so we'll keep them going.
Yeah, I have so many stories to tell everyone. So I would love to come back again. And I hope that this helped. I know I gave a lot of information quickly, but it's really the basics of the mindset. Be be really aware, like Lou, how you mentioned, of your thoughts, because your thoughts cause your feelings, and that produces the actions and the reaction from the universe. So,
The reaction from the universe. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So
Thank you, Donna. Have an
yeah.
amazing rest of your day, and we'll talk soon again. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou.
Bye.
Thanks.